What I want to do is just step back, try and explain how I think quality fits within the wider context of work we're collectively doing on data and the progress we're making. Just wanted to just reflect for a moment on the fact that I'm hoping this picture is the to be picture of our foundations rather than the kind of as is before. I can't tell exactly which pier that is, but I suspect it might well be Brighton at some particular period. Let's go on to my first slide. So James, I noted, took one of the quotes from the NAO, which was quite a positive quote. But there are also several comments that have been made progressively on where we stand with government data. And here are a couple of quotes from the NAO and the PAC relating to what might be described as neglected poorly planned activity historically, potential leading to failings in services, and really lack of understanding on how best to improve. And if these aren't my favourite quotes, but in reality, you can also find things in the public domain Committee, from the ODI, Institute for Government, all recognising that over a period of time we've fallen behind where we need to be with our approach to data. Prior to joining ONS, I was leading the Government Digital Service and therefore heading the function for digital data and technology. And it wasn't lost on me and others that where we had made quite extensive progress around our digital thinking and digital delivery, and likewise on the technology and underpinning approaches, actually the data side of our business across the piece hadn't had that same level of collective push, focus and kind of structure and organisation. And therefore sort of tackling this in a more joined up and sort of coherent approach was clearly an important step. Now, when you look at the failings and challenges that we've had, one of those specific areas relates to data quality, specifically, working around making the best of poor quality data that we may have, but also needing to start to build ahead in recognising what better quality data would look like within new systems and new ways of working. For some time, we've had a taxonomy in recognising what needs to be done in the business of data across government, and that taxonomy sort of starts with quality and availability of data, but it moves on to standards, ethics, capability and leadership, and on productivity. And across a large range of partnerships, we've been seeking to address those particular areas and make sure that we are progressing on each component. And quality stands out not only as the first of those components, but a particular fundamental foundational issue that we need to try and make collective progress on. And I think one thing that the framework does is already pull out examples of best practice where sectors and colleagues have been addressing this, and we've obviously got some presentations coming up after my part which will start to tease that out, and I'm grateful for colleagues to do that. In looking, let's go to the next slide. So the framework itself is a commitment from the National Data Strategy, and I think the thing I'd say is that this time we're serious. So this is a framework that has been signed off across government and has a ministerial backing. It's for use across central government as guidance, but it's available for use across local government, other public bodies and the private sector as well, should they wish to take the benefit of the approach we're taking. And James already pointed out, it's on GovUK. It will lead to help inform a single data maturity model. So I'm really keen that as we focus on the principles within the framework, they help us mature the degree of sophistication we have around our approach to data. And when you start to identify some of the challenges that we've had in the past, you'll see things like COVID in particular really testing the boundaries of what we've been able to do with the data. We've done some incredible things collectively, but sometimes the quality has been an issue. And if I use the example of the Vulnerable People Service, which was a very operational service that was running for quite some time to deliver food, parcels and provisions to the most extremely clinically vulnerable during the earlier phases in COVID. We were doing some quite advanced things in taking data from sort of the GP environment, those that needed particular assistance. We were comparing it with information collected from DWP, who were ringing around just checking needs, and we were also sort of merging this with local authority data and in effect providing the output for the food parcels to be delivered. It's the first example, I would say, of where a service has existed purely through the flow of data from one party to another. And within that, we had to work quite hard to manage around some data quality issues. So not surprisingly, in some data sets, we know there is aspects of duplication or standard setting that isn't consistent. And in the case of the Vulnerable People Service, we had to make some pretty tough decisions around how to manage that quality, because get it wrong and someone wouldn't be getting a food parcel who was in need of food or other provisions. And so quality becomes a real operational matter there. In a broader analytical sense, work we're doing now in Office for National Statistics with colleagues around bringing together data for test and trace and the COVID infection survey, again with hospital episodic data, all requires a quality that allows us to bring this together and really tell the story to support particular policies. So with that theme of this time, we're absolutely serious. With colleagues also in Treasury, there's been a significant theme on data quality and data progress in the bids for this particular spending review and the outcome. And Treasury colleagues will continue to work with departments in the documentation and the follow-up to the particular envelopes that have been agreed on data quality. So we can look forward to some considerable progress in real substance and investment. And just to sort of highlight once again the work that James will be doing with his team in the Government Data Quality Hub, really keen for this to be an area of support so that we can sort of tackle these challenges and make real progress. So just to kind of provide that overarching message again, we know the challenges now, I believe, collectively. We've studied. This is one really important ingredient in the challenge for better enhanced quality of data, and we have the mechanism and the means to be able to support that work, both from a funding perspective and from a capability perspective within the Quality Hub and across colleagues who are on this call with us today as well. So that's all I wanted to say in this section.